So this lesson is on substitution. Now, we have done substitution last year, so this shouldn't be too hard. The only difference is, so if you're given y equals to x squared minus 2x, the ones that we have been doing up to now is like they'll just give you the value of x, substitute it in, find the value of y. But the extension now is where they give you the value of y and you find the value of x. So that involves you solving an equation to find x, making x the subject of the formula basically. Now let's start with a. So we know y equals to x squared minus 2x. Now, very importantly is when we substitute values, especially negative values, that we put them in brackets. Okay. Because that would obviously, if you don't put that in brackets, that stays a -1. But when we square -1 in brackets, it becomes positive. Minus 2 times by -1. Okay, that becomes 1 plus 2, so that is equal to 3. So pretty easy. Now, when we're given the value of y, and we replace y with its value 8, equals to x squared minus 2x. Now taking everything to the one side, because we see that this is actually a quadratic equation with a term being x squared being one of the terms. Taking the 8 to the other side will then be x squared minus 2x minus 8. Now solving for this quadratic equation, like starting by factorizing it, we've got x minus 4x plus 2, and then x is equal to 4 or x is equal to minus 2. Okay, and then that's done. Right, so now if we look at something slightly more, well, practical actually, and slightly more complicated. The formula for calculating surface area of a cylinder is the surface area is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r times the height. Now we're given that the radius is 3, the height is 10, and pi is 3,141. Okay, and now if pi's value weren't given, you just basically use your normal pi to get like most accurate value. So if we have s equals to 2, and then replace pi's value 3,141, and then replace the radius 3 squared plus 2 times pi 3,141, and then plus times r 3, and then the height 10. Okay, and then basically we can just type all of this in the calculator and find the answer. So this then would be, just do that. So yeah, just fast forward this part, and then just times it by 3 squared plus 2, 3.141, and times 10. Okay, so that gives us 225. Now, is that correct? 245. 245. We round it off. And then this is in centimeters squared because it's a surface area. So that's the unit of measurements. Okay, so now calculate the value of r. So basically, we're given the surface area and we're given the height. Now we need to solve for the radius. So basically we just put in all the values of that we're given. So we have that 48 pi equals to 2 times pi times by the radius which we want to solve, and then plus 2 pi radius, and then the height is given to us as 5. Okay, now first of all, before we try to solve this, because we can see there's a r squared, so this is going to be quadratic again, we want to kind of simplify this, and with equations we can divide like the whole equation with a value that would help us simplify the entire equation. So if I divide each term with 2 pi, that would immediately eliminate the pi, which simplifies things significantly. So what we'd have left then is going to be 24 on this side, and then that cancels, so we're just left with the r squared plus these guys go, this is 5r, okay? So then if we rearrange everything to take everything to one side and put it in standard form, we've got r squared plus 5r minus 24. Okay, and then we need to factorize that. So factors of 24, so let's look for factors that can give us 5. 3 times 8, yeah, that should give us 5. So plus 8 minus 3. So 0 is equal to r minus 3 and r plus 8. And then solving for r, we have r is equal to 3 or r is equal to minus 8. Now, obviously, negative radius, we can't have a negative radius, so the radius is then going to be 3 centimeters. Okay, now for the final one, this is like in a table, and we're again given equation y equals to x squared minus 3. So the x values, so the ordered pairs that we need to find, in the first, for the first 3 values, we've got the x values, and the last one we've got the y value. So if we're given the x values, it's pretty straightforward. Just substitute it into the equation. So minus 1 squared minus 3, so that gives us 1 minus 3, which gives us negative 2. And then y equals to 0 squared minus 3, which is equal to minus 3. And then y is equal to 1 squared minus 3, which is equal to 1 minus 3, which is equal to negative 2 again. But now, so yeah, we can just basically fill these values in. So that's going to be minus 2, minus 3, minus 2. And then when we're given the y value, we'll be solving for an equation again. So we take 6, we replace the y with 6, equals to x squared minus 3. Now if we take all the terms to the one side, because we've got x squared, we have 0 equals to x squared minus 3 minus 6, and then 0 equals to x squared minus 9. So this is difference of squares, so 0 equals to x plus 3x minus 3, and then x is equal to minus 3 or x equals to 3. Now which one do we choose? Now the table, in a table we don't normally put, like, we normally put them in order, so it's more likely that we just have to put that this would be 3 on the right hand side. If we had a 6 on this side, it would be minus 3 over here. Okay, and that's it.